Hello everyone, I'm Heather, and in today's video I'm going to give you an update on my personal cruise wish list. I'd love it if you would share your wish list or bucket list cruises that you really want to take on at some point in your life in the comments below. I'd love to hear what they are. Okay, recently Gary Bembridge on his channel Tips for Travelers, which I will link right up here, did a video on 6 epic cruises or really major cruises that you can do that are a little bit different than what most people might usually do. I really enjoyed that video. I love Gary's channel. I watch all of his videos. I think he does a really terrific job. And this video that he did really intrigued me and got me thinking about some of the big or major or different cruises that I really want to do. And here's the thing. So far, all of my cruise experience has been in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. I mean, I'd be okay with doing more Bahamas and Caribbean cruises, but there's so many other parts of the world and itineraries that I'd like to do cruising that I kind of want my focus going forward to be checking off the things on this list. First of all, one of the very first videos I did on my channel was my cruise wish list. It was way back like 3 years ago, and I'm going to link it right up here so you can see how much different both my wish list has changed and my videos have changed. The first thing I want to talk about is ships. In that video, I talked about some ships that I wanted to go on. Now, especially because of the pandemic and things that have happened in the cruise industry, like while cruising has been shut down and cruise lines have lost a lot of money and had to make some difficult choices, I've realized that having like ships on my wish list doesn't really necessarily make a lot of sense. With a couple of exceptions, I guess I really don't care too much if I get to go on certain ships. I mean, when a new ship comes out, there's a lot of hoopla and, people get very excited and things like that. And yes, even I will say, oh, I'd really like to try that ship, or I'd really like to go on that ship. There are definitely ships that I think look really beautiful or interesting and that I would like to try. I'm not terribly focused on having a wish list of ships, more so than I am of having a wish list of cruises. But here's the thing. I definitely want to pick a good ship when I do take a cruise. I want to choose a ship that I'm going to like and that I'm going to enjoy. So the ship is definitely a big factor when I book a cruise. But I guess for the purposes of my cruise wish list, it's really more about the destination or the itinerary. Okay, so there are 6 cruises on my cruise wish list that are really important to me that I absolutely want to do before I die or before I get too old to actually enjoy them. Okay, here's what they are. Number 1, I want to do a cruise to Alaska. And more specifically, I'd really like to do an inside passage cruise, and preferably one that includes Glacier Bay. So I'm probably going to have to do it on Princess or Holland America. Number 2, I would really like to do a Panama Canal cruise. And I would like to do the full transit of the Panama Canal. So I want to take a cruise that goes all the way from Florida to California or the other way. Number 3, I would really like to do a transatlantic cruise. I'd even like to do more than one transatlantic cruise. I love sea days and think that would be fabulous. But here's the thing. I am a little bit picky about which ship I would do a transatlantic cruise on. There's more than this, but the 2 ships I'm most interested in doing a transatlantic cruise on are the Queen Mary 2, the Cunard ocean liner that's specifically designed to do North Atlantic crossings. I'd really like to do a westbound transatlantic on the Queen Mary 2. Or I would like to do a transatlantic on the Disney Magic when she repositions between North America and Europe for the summer season, or the other way in the fall. The Disney Magic is the first ship that I cruised on, and it kind of has a special place in my heart, and I really love Disney Cruise Line, so I think that would be a really neat, enjoyable experience. Number 4 on my wish list is a British Isles cruise. If you've watched my videos for a while, you know that I did a homestay and educational program in Ireland when I was in high school, and then I also lived in London for a time when I was in college, and I really love the British Isles. And I've also been there 2 other times, once with my mom and once with my son Andrew and my husband. And there's so many other places around the British Isles, even just port cities, that I would really like to visit and experience. British Isles cruises can be kind of expensive. A lot of people will say, well, I don't really want to do a British Isles cruise because of the weather. Okay, quick tangent. If the only reason you like cruising is because you want to be someplace warm and sunny, then I guess I would argue that it's not really cruising that you like. It's being close to the equator. It's that you like tropical weather. Maybe you like tropical weather and being on water. But what is it, like 70% of the planet is ocean. There's a lot of ocean in the world that is not warm and sunny. And for me, it's more about the experience of being on a ship and being at sea. Actually, being where it's warm and sunny is a lesser priority for me. I don't like being hot. I mean, there's some places I would like to go that fit that description, but for the most part, it's more about being on a ship and being on water and exploring different parts of the world. And so I'm always a little bit confused by people who just have this idea in their head that cruising is only palm trees and sandy beaches, because that's definitely not true. There's a lot of parts of the world that are not like that. And if that's the only thing you're focused on, you're really missing out on a lot of other experiences. But I would really like to do a British Isles cruise, and I don't care about the weather. Number 5 on my list is a Baltic Sea cruise. Everything about Northern Europe very strongly appeals to me. That's probably the part of the world that is most interesting to me and that I feel most connected to, probably because of my heritage. And I just would really like to spend the most time traveling to and visiting, much more than I've gotten to do so far. And so a Baltic Sea cruise also really interests me because of the different ports that it goes to and that part of the world. And then number 6 is a Norwegian fjords cruise. And specifically, I'd really like to do one of the cruises that goes above the Arctic Circle. So those are the 6 cruises that are on my really, really want to do wish list. I really hope that I can do all 6 of these at some point before the end of my life. Now, there are 5 others that I'm very much interested in, but that I wouldn't necessarily be devastated if I never got to do them. Okay? And the 5 other ones that I'm really interested in, number 1 is Antarctica. I'd love to see penguins in their natural environment. There are other places besides Antarctica that you can see penguins, but I think going to Antarctica would be really cool. The big obstacle for Antarctica, that's like a dream trip, because Antarctica cruises are very expensive. So I don't know if that one's realistic or if that's ever going to happen, but I think it would be really cool to do a cruise to Antarctica. Okay, number 2 is Japan. I think a Japanese cruise would be wonderful. I think Japan is really interesting. There's actually quite a few things I'd like to see in Japan. Megan is especially interested in Japan and Japanese culture, so I think that would be something really cool for her and I to do at some point. The 3rd one on my list is Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii. Hawaii and Alaska are the only states I've never been to, and I would really like to get to Hawaii someday. And I kind of feel like a cruise is kind of a neat way to do Hawaii. I mean, you'll notice a lot of these are islands, and so it almost makes more sense to do them as a cruise so you can visit multiple places within the island chain or whatever, rather than going to one island and just being in that one place. Another one on my would like to do list is a California coastal. And one of the things that intrigues me about that one is I really think it would be neat to cruise under the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. And then one more that I recently added to my list is a Canary Islands cruise. The Canary Islands, if you're not aware, are part of Spain, but they're located west of North Africa in the Atlantic Ocean. Morgan from Very Unofficial Travel Guides, which I will link his channel up here, has taken 2 cruises now, I think, in the Canary Islands during the pandemic. And watching his videos of those have really intrigued me. The Canary Islands look beautiful and really interesting. And for those of you who like warm weather, it's like a warm weather destination, but very European. So it's really kind of an interesting place to go. And again, it's an island chain. So cruising there makes sense because you can travel between the different islands. those are the cruises that I am really hoping to take in my lifetime yet. All of these are fairly expensive cruises. And so it might be challenging for me to be able to do all of these in my lifetime, but I'm really hoping at least to get to those top 6 on my really top wish list. And if I can do any of the 5 that I had on my I would really like to do them list, that's kind of a bonus. So I'm really curious to hear, what is your dream cruise? Like, if money was no object, what is the cruise you would most like to do more than anything? Or do any of the cruises that I listed intrigue you, and would you like to really do them too? Or if you have a cruise wish list, share that in the comments below. I'd really like to see what everybody else has on their list. Thank you so much for joining me today for this video. I hope you all have a great day. Please be sure to help out the channel by giving me a thumbs up down below and leaving me any kind of comment about the video. That really helps the channel. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please be sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for supporting me and supporting the channel. Have a great day, everyone, and safe travels.